KILR Killer Game.
Hello gamers, simmers, and pilots. I am the Killer Gamer, and welcome to the tour around the world, the semi-tour around the world, most of the USA, with SubLogic Flight Lite. Specifically, this is SubLogic Flight, not to be confused with Microsoft Flight. It's just SubLogic Flight Lite. Kind of went through 3 different phases. 1 year it was Flight Lite, then they added a few things and it was Flight Lite Plus, and then the following year after that it was released in a box as a CD-ROM, and it was just called Flight. So I've got the box edition. The picture that you see down below is what I have. I don't know how the other ones were released, to be honest with you. I don't know how Flight Lite and Flight Lite Plus was released. I don't remember them, and I've kind of looked around, and other than seeing a manual, I haven't really seen any box or anything. So I'm kind of wondering if maybe it was something that you special ordered from SubLogic. I don't know. Maybe one of your viewers out there could let us know. Maybe you have a picture of it, or can give us a link or something, or you can send me an email. The email is killer.television@gmail.com. So shoot me an email with an image. I'll put it up on the show here, and I'll give you a shout out. So yeah, if you've got a cover of it, yeah, take a picture of both sides, the front side, back side. We'll show it. I'm sure our viewers really appreciate it. So that's what this is about. It's about community. Let's help each other out. I mean, we all love Flight Simulator and flight simulations. So we get stronger as we get together. So, and speaking of which, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Be a part of the community. Let's build it. Let's grow it. And we'll have a blast. We're an awesome community. Okay. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and talk about our flight. We're right here at Chicago Midway, where this VOR is located, which I thought was awfully weird from the last episode, because we looked at an actual flight map and there's no VOR here. Even on the original Flight Simulator 1 and Flight Simulator 2, there was no VOR here. They didn't have a VOR. So I don't know what this is. Did they make it up? XGB? I looked this up. I couldn't find anything. So I don't know. I mean, I appreciate the fact that it was there. I've always wanted something to be at Midway, so that way I would know like how far away Midway was. But there's... I don't know. Maybe one of you guys can fill me in here in regards to this XGB VOR. Maybe it's not a VOR. Maybe it's something else. I don't know. It's got numbers like a VOR. So, but anyway, that's where we are. We're going to be going. I got to scroll over here. Joliet Park District. We talked about this on a previous flight, because we were coming down this way from Cloud International. We are actually heading there this time around. But before we do that, we're going to do what we did on all the other flight simulators. We're going to be flying up here around the cityscape and coming down south and doing a touch and go at Merrill C. Meigs. And my original thought for that was, you know, Meigs is a lot of things to a lot of people. it has a special place in people's hearts with pilots and simmers alike. It's the default airport. I mean, this dates back to Flight Simulator, or for me, to Flight Simulator 2 for the Commodore 64, which is where my very first flight simulator. And always started off from there. I was, how old was I? 13? I don't know. I was 13. I didn't know anything about Meigs. I just grew to know it, and the Chicago map. Flying from Meigs to Champaign. Landing at Kankakee in the middle there and filling up, and going back and forth until I got scenery disc and could fly from to the West Coast and East Coast. That was fun times. And and I'm reliving those times on this channel, but I'm also flying simulators that I never flew before. This is one of them. I haven't flown this until this actual series, and I hear my husky howling in the background. But anyway, I didn't know anything about touch and goes either at that time. Of course, later on as I got older and I learned more about flight and aviation, I learned about touch and goes, and I thought, hey, wouldn't it be cool to do a touch and go here at Merrill C. Meigs as a kind of a tip that they had, and a salute to a great airport, and to do that on the old simulators that either I never done before, like I never did it on Commodore 64 or Amiga or Flight Sim 598, whatever, or simulators that I never played before, like Microsoft Flight Simulator 1, 2, 3, 4, 2002. I didn't have that one until this series also. So I thought that would just be kind of a neat thing, and so we're going to do it with this one as well. And so once we do our touch and go, we will continue our way over to Joliet, and this is probably going to be really hard to see. It's going to be dark. There are other airports out there. It didn't seem so hard with Flight Simulator 2, but this one I think is going to be a little bit different. So what we're going to do is we're going to make use of the flight tools that we have on this particular simulator to help us out if we need it. So let's go ahead and set that up. So you may be thinking, what tools am I talking about? Well, let's go ahead and double click the right mouse button, and we'll pull up the menu. We're going to go here to planning, and we're going to do a quick route setup. We're going to set our departure airport to Midway. And I don't know if it really matters which runway we're taking here. Just say 31 right. I think we're close to 31 right. And I don't think it really matters, like I said. Destination is going to be Joliet. Joliet Park District. And which one? Yeah, we'll land on runway 12. That seems good enough. So we've got our route. Now it doesn't seem like it'll do anything at first, but there are visual aids that we can turn on once we're up in the air that will help guide us, so that way we know we're going to the right airport and we're not landing all over the place. So we'll go ahead and let's see, we'll set the nav radio here to Joliet, which is 112.3. Give us kind of a roundabout idea as far as distance goes. And I'm looking at the map and I'm thinking if we take 260 for a course heading, it should get us in the general area. The airport will be before we reach the VOR. Sorry, I'm like thinking and trying to talk at the same time. What else should I use here? I think we'll use Lansing as well. Sorry, Chicago Heights. And we'll do 280 on that one. So Chicago Heights, 114.2. Whoops. 2. And we're saying 280. This could take a bit. I should have gone the other way. Whoa, passed it. Come on, go back. Okay. So we have all that set up. I think we are ready to take off. So we're going to go ahead and start the plane, or just basically unpause. Okay, I believe we're on here. It seems awfully loud. Yeah, just turn it down just a tad bit there. Okay. And let's get moving here. I love the blue that's out in the sky. That's a very rich looking blue. I mean, this doesn't really hold a candle to Flight Simulator 4, but it does have a nice gradual change from daytime to nighttime. Which Flight Simulator 4 doesn't have. So, like, Flight Simulator 1, 2, 3, and 4, it's like when it's dusk or dawn, it's in between day and night. It's like the sky is still blue, but the ground is dark. So that's how they accomplish that. And this here, we actually have a variation of colors in the sky that gradually change. So that's awesome. I wish Flight Simulator 4 did that. And we are off. Nope, go up. There's the airport. You know, in a way, I kind of think the clouds are done better in this than they were in Flight Simulator 4. Because, I don't know, it's like the shapes of them seem better. Go ahead and level off somewhere around 2000. We got Chicago, downtown Chicago coming up here. I love the little colors that are coming up here. This kind of like light green, light blue. It's almost like neon lights. Oh, I wonder what Las Vegas would look like. I bet that looks pretty cool. Chicago, Midway behind us. I think Japan would look stunning on this also, but unfortunately the SubLogic Japan scenery disk will not work on this. You can convert the USA East and USA West to work with Flight Light. If you've got the boxed SubLogic Flight like I've got it, you don't need it. That's all included on the CD-ROM. You've got that entire database, and they've even did some updates with the scenery as well, like adding a VOR to an airport that shouldn't have one. No, that was actually in USA East also. I checked my original map. So we can still see the clouds out here. I believe once it gets fully dark we won't see them, or we'll barely see them. So in a way it's still kind of realistic. I mean, when your eyes adjust at night you can kind of see the clouds. So I still think that what they've got here works. Now the night lighting is not as nice as what was done with that's O'Hare out there. It's not as nice as the USA East and USA West for Flight Simulator 4. Now I don't know if converting them would make it look different, or would it be the exact same here? I don't know. I don't want to convert the scenery over. I want to, I want to use what's on the CD-ROM, so that way you guys out there, if you're looking to add this to your collection and maybe fly around, or have just been wondering, hey, what does the scenery look like in certain areas? Well, you're going to be able to find out on this series, because we're going to be matching the flight plan that we're doing in all the simulators, as much as possible. Obviously, this is not going to be able to go into any other country except for Canada, and that's just along the border. But there is definitely plenty out there that we'll be able to look at. All right, let's do a little bit of a turn here. That's my phone. If you listen to that buzzing sound long enough, it almost sounds like an airplane. Yes, it's an airplane. Is it soothing and relaxing enough for ASMR? Or does it sound like when you're laying down trying to sleep and there's a mosquito? Alright, there's our airport. Let's start getting some flaps down. We'll get one more thing of flaps down here. We'll start making a turn. Now, we haven't botched a touch and go yet. There was one simulator where it kind of got blown off a little bit, but it's like I didn't touch down on the runway, but I didn't crash into the water. So, okay, not the best touch and go, but it was still a success. And we're going to do everything we can to make sure this one is a success as well. Landing on the runway is preferable. Coming in here, do it nice and easy. It's kind of hard to judge our... Okay, I think if we power down, we should be good. Okay, full power. We're up. Let's start bringing our flaps back up here. We did it! We did it! Look at Chicago. Look at that skyline. That is just so neat. With this old simulator. That is just so cool. Okay, we're going to start heading in the direction of Joliet. I know we're going to be flying right by Midway, which is what I believe is in front of us. We've almost got no light now. I think when it says 1830, it should be completely dark. Well, you know, I think dusk will have ended and nighttime will have begun. Alright, Joliet has tuned in. We'll go ahead and adjust our heading so we can pick up that radio that we want to pick up. Now, down here with VOR number 2, can you see the mouse? It's hard to see, I know that. Over here in the bottom right, next to where it says Q's. Yeah, this right here. When that line centers, and we're already locked in on this one, that should be where the airport is at. Okay, we're going to level off here at 3,000, and I'm going to go ahead and use our autopilot. I'm going to switch our altitude hold there. I want to see how this works. Or if it works at all. Okay. The nav aid symbols and flight aids is shift. Shift F8, which will give us our direct route to destination guideline. And shift F9 is like the destination airport traffic like pattern. Really all we need is the shift F8 is all that we need. Let's see if that works. Ah, see? See that line right there? That's our visual aid. That's where the airport is pretty much at. So that'll help out. That'll let us know if we are going to the right airport or not. So one of the things that we can use on this particular simulator, because it's meant to be a user-friendly simulator. It may not seem like it at first, because you're looking at the dash going, what is this? This doesn't look like a Cessna. Well, originally it was a Cessna Citation jet on Flight Light, and then they added planes, but they didn't redo the whole dash. If anything, they kind of removed some instruments and replaced it with something else. But generally, almost all the instruments look like this. The dash looks the same. But they weren't really, and I could be wrong, but from what I understand, their focus wasn't on realism. Their focus was making a user-friendly simulator to get people into the flight simulation genre, I guess you could say. They're basically going back to their roots. They're doing a flight simulator where people can jump in and enjoy and not have the stress on trying to figure out the layout or having to worry about the plane not quite working the way they expect it. I think this is something that youngsters would be able to get into, because you've got this whole database of United States to fly in, and you don't have to worry about a whole lot of complicated gears and dials and buttons and switches and all that. You just got, you got some just basic stuff here. And the manual, they give you, just like all the other SubLogic ones, they give you some basic flight dynamics and instructions. And by default, crash detection is turned off on this. And there's a feature called crash avoidance. So if you try to nose this thing down, it'll prevent you from doing that. The autopilot will take over and keep you up in the air. Likewise, if you try too steep of a climb where it gets close to stalling, autopilot would take over and level things out. So it's kind of nice. I mean, because if you're trying to fly a simulator for the very first time, let's say you're really young, and maybe you don't have to be young. You could be someone that's not very computer savvy. It doesn't matter how old you are. I mean, I have an uncle that is 10 years older than me. He's in his late 50s, going on to 60, and no, he's not savvy around computers at all. I know he wouldn't be interested in flight simulation, but if he were, I know that all the controls and everything would just be too much for him. I mean, he kind of dates back to the Atari 2600. It's all you had was a joystick and a button. Nothing really more complicated than that. And so that's what he likes. But and something like that, if he really was interested in doing some flying, but didn't want all the complexities that are behind, X-Plane or Flight Simulator 10, even though the graphics, look great, it's striving for realism, and it can get quite frustrating if you're trying to fly it, and when it's doing all kinds of stuff. You just kind of want to get up in the air and fly and just have an adventure. And I think this is a good little starting tool, and it's got some assignments here to kind of test your skills, make sure you're going to the right airport and stuff. Chicago is long gone. In a way, all the little colored dots, it still has a bit of a sense of realism to it, kind of. I mean, you know, late at night when you're far away from a city, let's say you're up on elevation or something, you can kind of see colors like that. "21 miles. Let's see. What can we talk about here? Maybe go over some stuff in the manual here. We could try going over the control panel. So, you know, this is the attitude indicator. And we've seen it, the outer, middle, inner markers are right over here on the right side. You've got your major gyro compass and OBS 1 and all that stuff right here. It looks like our needle's beginning to center as well. You've got your airspeed indicator here. Right next to it over here to the left, in between where you got the window first, blah, 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 this thing here, it is angle of attack indicator, which is kind of interesting. I've not really heard of that. So you've got your clock here. This is a stopwatch underneath it. So you click it and it starts, click it again, it stops, click it again, it resets. And then you got your switches here for tuning into nav 1 or nav 2. Your altitude hold, we have to remember to turn that off. You got your strobe lights, nav lights. Actually, if I turn nav lights off, does that? Okay, I thought maybe that would turn. So we don't have any dash lights on here. Over here in the upper left, it tells you what window you're looking at. So you can have like up to 3 windows and in addition to a map window. So this is just saying this is the first window. 1x means your zoom level. And then below that is abbreviation for very complex. That is your scenery density. So that's just kind of a reminder there. And we are about centered on our heading there. Okay, so that airport over to the right should be Lewis University. Although, this is beginning the center too, which has got me wondering. This is where we use our flight aid. So it was F8 or Shift F8. Okay, so that is not the airport that we want to go to. That's what I thought. See, and this is where the user-friendly part comes in. You know, you're flying at night, you're trying to get to a certain airport, maybe you're doing those flight assignments, and it can get a little frustrating, you know, if you're not very familiar with the nav radios and the VORs and stuff. But the visual aids really help. So, and I think this is the only simulator I've seen that actually does something like this. Yeah, I know the other ones have something similar, but not like this. This one just seems different on its approach. Yeah, we're heading almost west, and that airport right there is just about parallel to where we're flying, so that is Lewis University. So I was wrong with our... And maybe that's just the fault of the map. But I thought that when this was centered and this was centered, we would be close to the airport. Apparently not. The airport's right over there. I don't even see it. Does it have lights? Maybe it doesn't have lights. That is our traffic pattern. Let's go ahead and we'll switch off the altitude hold. Let's go over there and we'll follow that traffic pattern into the airport. Because it's going to help guide us as far as the height also. This is like one of the things I was mentioning. This seems kind of unique to this particular type of simulator. Go ahead and bring some flaps down. Whoa, 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 whoa. Boy, that was a bit there. We should be close to the airport. You know what? I don't even see it. And I don't know if that was just, maybe that was just an oversight with the programmers that they didn't light this one up at night. The airport should be about 5 miles away from the VOR, and we're at 10.5. But looking at where that's curving and where that's going, I don't think that airport is lit up. It's like they forgot to put the night textures on, or night colors, or whatever, which would mean this would be impossible to find at night if it wasn't for this nav aid. Yeah, if we can see the curve of that traffic pattern, we should be able to see the airport also. The fact that we don't. A traffic pattern here. Guess I'm gonna have to do this more often. Just in case. Unless the lights come on like just before we land or something. I don't know. But this is good. We're able to make use of some of the unique things that come with this simulator. You know, instead of just kind of flying and looking at scenery. Okay, we're a little bit underneath that arrow there. Just use the arrows here and make our way down. Ooh, I see a red light. Oh, hold on. Wrong one. Okay, I think it's... yeah. Okay, so that red light over there is not it. Oh, I see the blinking lights. My goodness, we wouldn't have been able to find this airport because everything's blinking. But that's the runway. Oh, that's nuts. Okay, well, we've landed. Let's see where we landed. Let's take a look at our map. Never mind, it's dark. On some of the simulators, when you put up the map, it'll do it from a daytime perspective. I suppose we could just change our time here. Let's change the time to... yeah, there it is. There it is. And, well, we know it's it because we set our guide and it showed us the landing path. But if we just wanted to double check, we can go over here to scenery, look up facilities, and Joliet Park District. We'll just double click on that. And if we can remember 4131 8810. Just going to take a little bit of a screenshot of that. Go ahead and click cancel. Done. And we'll go over here to position aircraft. And 4131 8810. Yes, we are definitely here at Joliet. So that worked out very nicely. Wow. Well, I don't know how in the world we're going to be able to take off since we can't really see nothing. I don't know. is there an option on here to have takeoff? Yeah, I mean, there's one for destination traffic. Is there one for destination airport traffic? No. No, just destination. There's not one for taking off from the airport. Oh, darn. But you know what we could do on the next flight? We'll just keep this flight assignment, this route that we took, and just fly the opposite direction and use the arrows as a guide. I think that's something that we can do. Let's take a look at the rear. So, yeah, I think we could do that. Okay. Well, we'll go ahead and turn the aircraft off, or just pause. And we'll say goodnight for now. So thank you for watching this video, and I hope you found it helpful. I hope you found it useful as far as some of the features that you can make use out of this, just to make your flights a little bit enjoyable, such as the visual aids. If you did, leave me a like. Put a like on this video, a thumbs up. And I mentioned before, subscribing is a good thing. It helps build our community up and helps get the word out to other simmers like yourself. That way they know that there's all these classic simulator videos that they can check out, relive some old memories or build some new ones. And then the notification bell, hey, that's for you. So that way you know when the next video in this series or any of the other series is uploaded. But until next time, I will see you on another, not another rambling video, that's a whole nother series. I'll see you on the next Flight Simulator video.